Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to our empath show today. I'm really excited. And I just am laughing at myself because I just spilled water on my shirt. So I'm like trying to, maybe it's dry now. But I'm so excited to be here. I want to apologize also. The Wednesday shows, I made an executive decision today that I was telling you we're going to go live every Wednesday, but we are going to go live another time during the week, but I just have to follow my energy flow. So I'm not going to commit to Wednesday, but I'll commit to a different day and like give you a couple days notice. So that seems to work better, kind of like today. Here we are, like having a live. So, hey, Estha, Lena, Gay, welcome you guys. If you're just joining in and don't know who the heck I am, I'm Jill Hoyrup. I'm a psychic healer. And I'm been all giddy today too, because you guys have got all my jewels on. I've got all my jewels on. And I'm just cracking up because some of you know my story that I literally like used intuition and moved south of the border from Seattle to Belize. And I lived there for 5 years. And I literally went with a suitcase and a backpack. And so I didn't have all my stuff. And so I just posted photos of my piano that I have now out of storage and my jewelry. I'm super excited. So anyway, hi, Deb. Welcome. Thank you for joining in. So I'm already hot from all this. I knew that was going to happen. Hi, Serby. Nice to see some of you newbies. So what we're going to do today, if I can get this thing off. Sorry, I always get hot when I run energy. So we talked about this a little bit on Sunday, and I wanted to do a follow-up, which is why we're here today. So I want to do a little check-in with everybody, the world events, plus the United States events. I don't like to say any of it. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But I just want to do a check-in and see how everybody's doing. How are you feeling? Hopefully, well, I mean, not hopefully, but I mean, some of you probably are feeling really bogged down and really just overwhelmed by what's going on. And I just want to say you're not alone. And what's happening is you're picking up the collective consciousness energy of all of this stuff. And again, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So let me know how you're doing and feeling, and then we'll have a little bit of a starting point. And while you do that, I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit more about my story. So some of it, I know we don't like labels necessarily, but I can see different phases of my life when I learn different things, and I would label myself that. Like, for example, thinking back to my childhood, you know, as a teenager and early 20s-year-old, I felt like I was shy and invisible. And then later I learned about introverts. And so I was like, oh, I'm an introvert. That's it. And then I learned about empaths. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm an empath. Then I went to Belize, and my whole, psychic world opened up. And then I learned about clair empathy, which is like supercharged empathy. That's what I'm calling it. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I started tracking back to age like 3, 4, 5, and started really recognizing how empathy and clair empathy, and really all my other psychic gifts, how they really started playing a role in my life, even at that age. Okay. So you might want to start looking at things a little differently than you have. But I do want to give a little bit of a plug for labels. I know in general, oh, they're not good, but I might actually disagree that they're not good, because I really feel like they can help us figure ourselves out more. Okay. I'm on a kick right now of learning about human design. I'm a manifester, which apparently is only 8% of the population. So yeah, I'm a weirdo. And, so now I'm labeling myself, as a manifester as I learn all of this, and I'm sure I'll be, I'll label myself something, but I'm pulling in the information of everything I'm learning and like applying it as I go. So it can unravel like that for you too. Okay. Let's see. Estha's feeling great. All thanks to the boot camp. Stash the cash, but need to release a few more things. Yes. There's been a total shift with our boot campers. It's so exciting. Coming up, is Amor Galore, a Radical Love boot camp. So stay tuned for that. Cindy says, I'm doing okay, but concerned about how you were feeling. I know. I'm like, Cindy, I can't respond back to you yet. It's like been an exhausting week. Who has had a really, and I can't tell right now, I'm like trying to catch my breath. It's been an exhausting week. I don't know if it was the full moon lunar eclipse on last Friday. I learned on Monday, Tuesday that there were solar winds starting on Saturday. So that could have been why, but literally was just so exhausted. And I'm just curious if anybody else has just felt incredibly tired. And then I'm waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Ding. So it's been really, really weird. So let me know if anybody else is experiencing that. Gay's feeling great. Ooh, working on her book. You're not focused on the other stuff. Well, and I think that's really can be true when you're really honed in on something, the rest falls away, which is a nice little spoiler alert. Like what we focus on expands, right? So not focusing, on the other stuff doesn't expand it. Callie's feeling pretty good. Happy to see my friends and family now. Good. Deb's worked retail through the whole thing, but right now on 9-day vacation. Oh, that feels so good for you. I'm going to spend the whole time out in my yard. Perfect. That'll be so good. Just that grounding and the nature and all of that. Lena's feeling bummed out. Her week was awful like mine. Callie says she thinks she feels that too. Lena says full moon, woke up at 2. Yep. Serby says, I want to do so many things, but I lack motivation and feel exhausted too. I know. So that now you can kind of understand what I'm talking about when I said, oh, I'm going live on Wednesday, blah, blah. And I was just like, that's not happening. And I thought maybe Thursday and like for Wednesday. And I thought I just tuned in because, I do everything with intuition. And I was like, that's not going to happen either. So today felt good though. So, noticing that is half of what's going on. We are going to do a healing at the end of this, you guys. So stick around for that. Deb says she's the opposite. I feel energy and peace the last couple days. Okay, good. And that can totally, a lot of times with the full moon, I feel recharged and I have energy. So usually it's during the new moon that I don't have a lot of energy. So, I want to talk a little bit about, just going to slightly touch on empathy, but really, I want to tap into clair empathy because I think a lot of us are calling ourselves empaths, but really we are clair empaths. And the difference is a clair empath. So an empath will feel feel energy of other people. They can sense the moods and things wrong. You have a lot of empathy when you can like sympathize or feel it when, a friend goes through a hard time. You can relate, you can feel it. Your heart kind of tenderizes and melts for your friend, right? Or whoever. So clair empathy is actually a psychic gift. And it's one I started teaching about with the other 4 major clairs. Because nobody else really talks about it. I was actually doing other research for the other clairs and I stumbled upon it on the internet and it really spoke to me. It really helped explain empathy in a deeper, bigger way. And clair empathy is actually like feeling the energy, feeling the vibration and the frequency of something. And it's not just people, you guys, it's people, animals, nature, planets, moons. It's anything around you. It can be the energy of a place that you are, of a building that you're in, and whatnot. Think of your work environment. What kind of energy is in your work environment or your home environment? So these are all the kinds of things that we're picking up along with other people's, okay? Okay, Deb, you're in the right place then. You're not sure what you are, but you just started your journey a few months ago. I will take a little commercial break now and tell you to join us over in Soul Style, Vibrant Living from the Inside Out. It's a Facebook group. We'd be happy to have you. Soul Style is actually something my guides channeled in when I've been talking about a new group for, 6 months, you guys. And one day it was like soul style. You talk about, I'm always making up words. So soul style, it's all about, it's not, we're not creating a lifestyle for ourselves. We're creating a soul style. We're creating our life using our soul wisdom, our intuition, using our soul purpose, our innate, the core of who we are as a soul, right? To bring that forth into the world. So soul style. So join us over there. Kelly's saying the Claire empathy does sound like me. Yeah. So I want to talk about a little bit more about, well, now I'm feeling like I'm not going to tell my whole story. I was going to kind of tell more of my story. Okay. So if I look back to before I left for Belize in 2014, and, I'd had a job, I've always had a job. And, what I realized probably 10 years, I don't know, 7 or 8 years prior, when I got a new job, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And I realized I was running a job pattern, an energetic pattern. So literally I would take these new jobs and I would then be completely disappointed after like 3 months after I was trained and had been around a while. I was like, this isn't what what the description said. I would getting like really bored fast. So I was at this job and I was like, great, now I'm stuck at this job. And my guides were like, by then I was into my intuition quite a bit and my spirit guides. And I just kept getting the message, like, until you clear your job pattern, you're going to just keep, attracting and having the same kind of job experiences. So around that same time is when I started getting it was late 30s. So I guess my tolerance level was shrinking. And I was just so tired of the Seattle weather, which I'm tired of right now because it's all like 60 degrees, 55 degrees, cloudy, rainy, a really dense energy here, right? Okay, well, I'm telling you it's dense in case you don't know. I don't know if you feel that way here, Callie, let me know, because since you're on. But the dream and the plan was born to start leaving, to plan to leave, to plan to move. I feel like I'm going off the rails. It's not really the story I want to tell, but for me, there was this constant feeling of like, is this all there is with like working at this job? And it would be any job, because I felt like that all the time at every job. Is like, shouldn't there be something more? And it was like my soul was whispering, is this it? Like, what is the point? It's Groundhog Day, like the same thing every day over and over again. So there's that feeling of really wanting to like break out and do something with my life and be who I'm supposed to be. There had to be more than just, buying airplane parts. So that's how I ended up finally taking the leap and moving. And what happened when I got to Belize was it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It actually ended up being a really difficult experience in a lot of ways. A lot of life lessons came through, but I want to talk about the expansive energy that's there, because it was really while I was down there that I started pinpointing, this, I wasn't calling it Claire empathy really until recently. So, tuning into my life, into my childhood, and recognizing the gifts, recognizing the psychic gifts that I had that were being stifled because of my environment and being stifled because I didn't know what to do with them. So this whole thing right now we're doing is to talk about how to figure out what our energy is and what drains us and how to manage it. So where do you think you are on a scale of like 1 to 10 with what you pick up around you energetically? So a 10 would be, I feel everything all the time, I can't get away from it. And a 1 would be, what are you talking about? Feel what? By who? So when I was in Belize, there's nothing there. It's like at that 300,000 people total in the whole country. And I was in a little village of 1,000 people, and there's nothing around. There's no big buildings. There's not a lot of people. So these are all things that can affect our energy, what's around us, right? So I'm from Seattle. I'm a suburb of Seattle, but still it was probably, I don't know, a couple hundred I don't know do you know what Kirkland is, Callie? It's like, what, 200,000 people now? I'm totally guessing. But I worked in a big factory with thousands of people. I worked around machinery. I worked around kind of sketchy characters. I worked around like a really old paradigm of job culture. And I'm a free thinker. I'm an outside of the box thinker. I'm a process person. I'm a detail person. So there was a lot like that didn't really fit with me having that job because it felt like it was always a constant struggle. Okay. Kelly says the nicer weather makes her feel better. Yep. Gay's at a 7. Deb's a 6. Kelly's maybe a 7. Maybe a 7 for all of you guys. Okay, good. All right. So let's talk about some of the ways, and it's kind of what I started talking about on Sunday. I'm going to be talking about social media a lot, you guys, because I think that's the biggest culprit right now. So some of the ways that we can feel energy and start feeling bogged down is, for example, our news feed. So like I was talking about my job having an energy with the culture, with the factory setting, with the machinery, with all the stuff that's in it, in this factory. A social media platform has the same thing. So you got to think of it as a container, okay? So here's your, okay, this is a good example too. Here's my container of a cell phone, and it has an energy to it. It has information in it. It's alive. It's alive with a frequency and a vibration. Woo! It wants to jump out and say hi to you. So think of all of your social media platforms, all the different ones. They are all, the same thing. Maybe one of them, didn't know I was going to use props. Maybe one of them looks like this, and one of them looks like this, and one of them looks like this. I mean, it can be anything, right? I'm just giving you an idea. So what happens is there's an energy in it. Think about the collective energy of all of those human beings and their own energy and vibration that are on this platform, okay? So we have an energy right now in this live. So I'm actually not on I'm on a streaming platform that's streaming it to you on Facebook, okay? So it's a little bit different of a container, so to speak, but it's getting to that platform. So each platform has their own energy, and you'll probably notice that as you go onto different platforms. A lot of people have left Facebook to go to Instagram because they didn't like the energy and what was being posted on Facebook all the time. And I get it, because you go on Instagram and it's a completely different energy, as is Pinterest, as is Twitter, as is whatever else you're on. Okay, so for example, some of the things, and I'm not bashing any of the platforms, I'm just trying to get you guys to start thinking of what this means for you energetically, okay? So there's a collective consciousness. So think about the events. Think about events that happen that then everybody on the platform posts about. And I'm talking about something like a celebrity dying. So the RIP, rest in peace posts. I'm talking about Happy Father's Day posts that you're going to see whenever Father's Day is. So there's these collective energies for those events, right? So think about the negative events that occur and the energy that comes from that. And I mentioned in the beginning, and I'll say it again, like, I'm not calling out the names of these events. We know what they are. So the reason why is because what we focus on expands. So when you check your news feed, I want you to start noticing what is expanding in your awareness and in your energy field because of the things being posted. So initially, it might be fun to see all the Father's Day posts and the photos of people with their dad and etc. And then on the other hand, a rest in peace post, like, I was kind of annoyed, I will have to say, that I can't remember who it was. I think it was like Michael Jackson that died the same day as Farrah Fawcett, and like everybody was Michael Jacksoning, and hardly anybody even mentioned Farrah Fawcett, who's like a childhood hero for me. Bionic, or no, she wasn't Bionic Woman, but like Charlie's Angels, right? So it's kind of like there's a disconnect sometimes. But anyway, so just start noticing. Just start noticing what's in your newsfeed. Okay. Same with the memes. Same with like videos that go viral. Like that is showing you the collective consciousness. That is showing you where it's actually kind of interesting as a psychic to watch the news feed and notice what's true and not true. Yes, but and I guess by that I mean people portraying themselves one way when really it's not that way. And maybe you guys, does anybody feel that when they look at their news feed? Do you feel like some of your friends are trying to paint a prettier picture than what their life really is, because you feel the inconsistency in you? You feel that it's not authentic? Let me know. Okay, I already said the different platforms have a different. Okay, thank you, Callie. The population for Kirkland was 91,000. So I was living in a town with 91,000 people. Thank you for checking that out. Wow, I was overzealous with my 200,000, wasn't I? So Deb's saying yes, Eths is saying yes. Okay, so the second thing, so that we're getting into a tip right now, and that's to start noticing. And since most of us are probably on our news feed a lot of the time, notice what's in your news feed. So you're going to be noticing which posts bother you, which posts like cause your heart to start pounding a little bit more and kind of stress you out, which posts Sorry, you guys. Yep, I was frozen. It goes black screen for me. Let me know if I'm back. Surby, you said something interesting. You said it was you feel the other way around. What does that mean? Cindy, I knew you would relate. Cindy can feel the phoniness. Surby says there's so much to be thankful about, but people are crying about things. Yep. Kelly doesn't like a lot of politics or complaining. Okay, good. So your first job will be to start noticing what is affecting you. So usually when we are taking on too much energetically, or we're being affected by the energy and the vibrations around us, we feel differently. So we may go from, say, a normal feeling and it dips. Or we're starting in a great mood and all of a sudden we're in a bad mood. So start noticing those things to start getting an idea of what is affecting you. Because once you know what affects you, you can then take some steps to make it better for yourself. Okay. So do you remember back in the old days when we were not, it was way in the beginning, 2007, 8, when we were not posting photos, it was just words on Facebook. And I'd like to know if there's anybody else besides me who really struggled with when they started allowing pictures to be posted, I was having complete stimulus overload. I could hardly be on the news feed. I couldn't scroll because it was like going to Las Vegas. If any of you have been there, it's just stimulus overload. And there's so much energy in photos and in videos and all of that. So I'm really curious. Esther was, yeah, it was really like, it kind of made me nauseous actually to be scrolling through. I'd have to go really, really slow. So yay, your friends aren't negative very much anymore on Facebook. Interesting. I wonder what that shift is. Deb says she's the one constantly sharing uplifting things. Yes, yay. Yeah, Cindy wasn't online, but any of you who were on way back then, there's been a progression of, everything allowed and whatnot. So I just remember really, really struggling with that because it was just like energetically overwhelming. So, all right. So we're going to take our power back from our empathy, you guys. I know that might sound weird, but being an empath is a really important role. We should take it really seriously, but it doesn't have to ruin our life by being an empath. So we're taking our power back. And what that means is we're really going to dig down into what it means for us to be an empath. I feel like we all have a very unique and individual and different experience with our empathy or clair empathy than other people do. And we need to find a way to work with it. We need to find a way to figure out within us how we are an empath, or the way we are, and what that means, and how to navigate life as an empath. We're empaths for a reason. We're empaths because we're all healers as empaths, whether it's just being a good friend or it's actually, doing what I do, or doing some other modality. So we're healers for a reason. We need that information for a reason because it helps us to help other people, but we don't need it to debilitate us. Okay, debilitate. So I have a theory that the anxiety and depression that is rampant across the US is empaths who have not maybe ever energetically cleared themselves or set up an energetic protection for themselves. They've just had their whole lifetime of energy just clouding them and exhausting them and driving them crazy. So that's my take on it. Deb has a low tolerance for whiners when I know they really haven't been through anything traumatic. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're taking back our power. Okay, so all right, we're going to do my signature clear and protect session today. It's going to be obviously a little bit different because we're here in a group setting. I am offering, I hope I can type. So I am offering a special on this. If you want to get one personalized for you, it's 25 US. Okay. So you'll see it as we go through, but I just wanted to offer. Am I still on? I posted my link and okay. Yeah. Okay, thanks. I've tried to put something in the comments, but I'll put the link. It wouldn't let me test something. Oh, I couldn't test before. Okay, anyway, I'll put the link in the description after we're over in case you want to get one. All right. So our first step, as we've been talking about, is to start noticing what it is that drains you. Okay. So this could be the social media platform that you're on, 7 hours out of the day or whatever. Raise your hand if it's you. That's the thank you. Personal session is the best because we go in to give you exactly what you need. That is true. All right. So the main ways to figure out what affects you energetically is to notice one or all of these things. Ready? The first one is your mood. If you have a sudden change in mood, and I guess I'll expand on all these in a minute. Secondly is your emotions. If you go from being normal to really sad and not knowing why, that's a tip, okay? Your energy level is another. So for example, for me this week with the low energy and the not just low energy, but exhaustion, but like I had nothing, I had nothing to give really. But yet I had things to do, so I couldn't really rest the way I wanted to, that I felt like would help me. So when I got that email that there were solar winds for the last 3 days, I think I got the email Tuesday. So that would have been from Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I was like, ugh, it just clicked, it just clicks. And I remember the last new moon, I was like, why am I so tired? And then I realized it was the new moon. I was like, I always know for the new moon to kind of plan for that, to plan for maybe a little more downtime, because a new moon is about kind of renewing and refreshing. You're starting a new cycle. You might want to journal. You might want to set goals. You might want to set intentions. So it's more inner work. Whereas a full moon can make everybody crazy and scattered and releasing everything and whatnot. So, all right. So when you're going to be noticing those three things, and one thing, so examples again, your news feed. And I would invite you all actually to go into Facebook after that. Well, you're already in it. So go into your news feed after this and scroll for about 5 minutes and back up a second. First, rate yourself, rate where you're at energetically on a scale from 1 to 10. 10 is high. And how are you feeling? Okay, so hopefully you'll be feeling uplifted and released and rejuvenated after we do our healing, after this is over, right? So go into your news feed. Well, you may not want to ruin that mood, so use your own discretion. But at some point, go into your news feed. First, rate yourself on where you're at, then go into your news feed. And then just scroll for 5-10 minutes at the most, okay? Then stop and revisit what your rating is. Did it uplift you? Are you the same? Are you grumpy and moody and mad and upset about things? Or how do you feel, okay? Then go try another social media platform, or try 2 more if you can, and do the same thing and see how you feel, okay? So example, the newsfeed, okay? Now, this is on or offline, right? So how do you feel around a certain person or group of people, a certain place, maybe your work, like my work. I had to set up an energetic protection when I walked through the parking lot to the security gates of the factory. I set up a protection right there so that when I went through the little roundabout gate, I started being protected as I walked into the work property. So that was something that I had to do, and I had to kind of retweak it and re-up it, and it was just, I was a wreck working there. So that was just something I had to do in order to handle my work environment, okay? And then there would be certain things I would do energetically while I was at work, okay? All right, certain area might affect you. I can notice a big difference between the denseness of the energy being back here in Seattle versus the light, open breeziness of Mexico and Belize. There's a complete difference, okay? You may experience it around large groups of people, or medium groups, or even small groups, okay? Another thing that's so interesting, I was thinking about this lately, is TV and movies. Think about the Netflix that you're watching, or the Hulu, or whatever program you're using, maybe your own cable TV or direct TV or something. What are these shows that you're watching? What is the energy in the show? I always talk about it. I still watch it, but Grey's Anatomy to me is a show that has completely shifted energetically as it's gone through. And yes, largely that's due to the characters and actors that have left the show. but they're going on like 16 or 17 years. And I'm like, enough already. Like there's no synergy. There's no energy between the actors and the storylines and just the whole thing. I don't know. Maybe they have new writers or maybe new cameramen or something, but like the whole show to me does not feel cohesive anymore. It just does not feel like there's any synergy or energy. I'm watching a show right now called The Mentalist. I think it was from 2007 or 2008. And I have to say, I'm really enjoying it. It's just a little mystery show. But the interesting thing is, because I missed a lot of those shows back then because I worked at this job and I had to be up early, and I don't think we had like TiVo or recorders or whatever back then, or I didn't have one. So I missed all these shows. So now I'm able to watch them. It's really been interesting to notice the energy between like that show versus the Amazon Prime Bosch, because I used to read the books. And so I wanted to see what the show was. And it's like just a whole different energy, like all dark and dreary in Bosch from today, you know, the last 5 years, say, is when that show's been made, versus this light, you know, kind of dorky, you know, energy of this other show. So start noticing also when you watch the shows. Gay watched The Mentalist when it was on. I know it's really fun. It's just, you know, kind of just reminds me of like Murder, She Wrote or something. Just a nice, light, easy one. Okay, so just notice your different energies of things. Okay. Estes, you're doing a good little plug-in. She says, this month I unfollowed many people whose posts were draining my energy. Yes. Deb only uses Facebook and Messenger, no other platforms. Okay, so you'll only try it for Facebook then, Deb, if you want to do it. And she's been turning off the TV a lot lately. So another thing is, you know, watching the news is a big drainer. I've never been a news watcher or a newspaper reader. So that's something for you to consider. Maybe consider what the source of your news is and go to something more real, because I really feel like mainstream TV is not giving us real news. That's my own personal soapbox. Okay. All right, moving on. Let's take a little commercial break. If everybody's not getting hydrated, it's time to think about it and do it. So I just want to ask, are you getting an idea? Are you thinking already of examples of what drains your energy? Let me know. You don't have to tell me what it is unless you want, but I want to get a feel for, you know, are you recognizing that talking to your aunt every day on the phone for an hour just is draining you? I had a friend like that who she just talked, like she talked a big game, but she never actually did anything. And I was growing with my spiritual journey back then. And I outgrew her basically, because she's still talking about what she wanted to do with her psychic skills or whatever, but she never did anything. And I just kind of stopped answering the phone one day. I didn't mean for it to be this whole big thing of like, I'm not talking to her anymore, but that's really basically what happened. And I didn't miss it. That's how you also know. I was going to say you're on the right path, but that's really not the right way to say it, I don't think. I think the more congruent way to say it is that you're working in resonance with the energy around you and with other people's energy around you. So, I mean, I really just wasn't resonating with her anymore. I was like moving like this, and she's, you know, still talking about what she wanted to do. And I'm not saying talking about what you're wanting to do. Well, I kind of am, I guess. I want to be with like people who are making progress. So anyway. Kelly likes Pinterest because for recipes, landscape ideas, etc. Yeah. Well, it's more topic based, right? Pinterest is more, it's not, let me post about the latest in the news and let me gripe about the politics. It's like things you're interested in that you want to know about. Lena knows some people that irritate her. So, so the trick is to honor yourself and honor your energy, and maybe like I did with that friend, we're still Facebook friends, I guess, today. I mean, sorry, I'm just kind of remembering like, yeah, she didn't invite me to her wedding reception or But that was so many years ago. Just start noticing and notice how it feels like when you do versus when you don't, and what that allows. What happens is, like, when my energy went from spending all that time talking to her on the phone, instead I invested in myself, and I invested in my metaphysical classes and my energy healing mentorships that I did, and things like that were progressing me in my path and in my gifts and in things I was interested in. So just consider what it means for your energy. That's kind of, I guess, a broader scale, talking about progression versus just, feeling, bogged down in that moment of the phone call, for example. Yes, Esther, you resonate with me. You can resonate with me. Yes. Hey, Katie. Oh, I want a taco. Can you send me tacos, please? Deb says certain people at work drain me. Katie, where were you this whole time? So you'll have to watch from the beginning, Katie. That might help you with certain things for certain people. Okay, Deb says certain people at work drain me. My son drains my energy because he's so depressed about a divorce. Yes. Exactly the same for me, says Esther. Yeah. And that's, so Deb, that's a good one about your son's divorce, because, especially as you're his mother, so you want to be supportive, but yet that's kind of a fine line with, like, helping and being around it all the time, right? And that's hard, because I'm all for, I'm a huge believer in going through your process. But I guess that's the other question to ask him is, like, is he really processing, or is he just staying stuck in the bad feelings and the yucky feelings? That would be my question. All right. So we're taking action steps here, little baby steps, okay, to start figuring out what is going on with us and our energy. So you could even do this the minute you wake up, once you get going, right? Once you are awake, you could check in and say, like, what's my energy level today? This is actually something I'm going to be working on, because as a manifester, like I was mentioning earlier in the human design stuff that I'm into now, I'm learning that my type, this manifester type, really struggles with burnout. And now it's like the light bulbs are going on again for all these ways in my life that I, like, have no energy for things. And it's actually part of my type, which is really empowering me, because I just thought something was wrong with me and I was being lazy all this time. And I'm not. I'm a manifester, so I'm creating in bursts, and I have to do things when the energy is there. Hence this live today versus one on Wednesday when I was exhausted. So you guys, you're really getting the best of me by me following my energy levels, I guess, for lack of a better word. So just know that I'm not trying to, like, not keep my word when I say I'm going live on Wednesday, but it's like I really have to honor, and I'm starting to do that, and it's feeling a lot better. And then I'm bringing forth something even better because I'm up and on and in, like right now, today, you're seeing, right? You guys can probably tell the difference. Although I will say one thing, and that is for the Sunday Zap show, because I do hold that every Sunday at the same time. The times when I may be a little lower energy, but I'm still showing up because, right, we've committed and we're all, we've been doing it a year now and we're still doing it. I always get so jazzed up once I'm on because of you guys. Tender. And it's true. Like, you guys, the interaction, like, boosts me up. And of course, I love doing the healing work and whatnot. So we get that too. But okay. Gay says burnout is one of my big issues. You overdo it. Yep. Geez. Am I back? I'm back. Maybe. You guys, I was cracking up. Sorry, that took a while. I'm in the room, hopefully. Hold on. I'll try to plug in again just in case. Oh, good, I'm back. Sorry. I was lasting for so long, and then I was connecting up to the program, and I saw that the camera was on, and so I made a grand entrance into the video, and it wasn't even connected yet. But I was having a good time with it. Thank you for your patience. I can't believe I've worse internet here than in Mexico. Okay, so back to my notes. You said it turns black right before I come back? Okay, frozen. All right, let me go. I'm scrolling back up. Okay, Cindy says we only get so much energy in a day and we cannot scatter it in so many places or we go into deficit. That is true. So there's a couple things going on. One is we need to learn in general I guess this is really the own thing. We need to learn what our energy patterns are for ourselves, whether we're an empath or not, right? I think it's useful. I think it's useful to know, like, for example, I used to love going out dancing to my disco band, and they would play Friday night and Saturday night. And there was this whole big group of us that we all met by following this band, and can't wait till we can open. I can go disco. But I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to work at 5:30. So Friday night I was, I'm beat, but I would go dancing. And what I found was I can't stay for 3 sets of music until 1 o'clock in the morning. And I wasn't sleeping good back then. Thank you, perimenopause. So I figured out that what I needed to do was go for one set. I could go until like 11 o'clock at the latest, or 10, whatever it was, 10:30. I think the set was like for an hour or something. So I would leave at like 10:30, go back home, and it worked out well for me. Then I could get a pretty decent night's sleep, and then I could stay for 2 sets the next night if I wanted. So I learned that, and people are like, well, stay longer. And I'm just like, nope, I'm out of here. So you got to honor those energy levels, honor what works for you with the energy levels. Deb says, oh, your son's wife only left a few weeks ago. Yeah. Okay, so he's super new then, bounces between getting life together, and I don't want to do this without her. Yeah. All right. Yes, I froze. Okay. So, all right, we're talking about our baby steps now. I feel like I should, I got the, whatever. Okay. I'm like sitting on the floor. Okay. It's where I like to be. All right. So first is you're noticing what affects you, okay? In all the different ways we're talking about. Secondly, stop associating with toxic people. Do I need to say that again? This is really a big one. And okay. In your discovery, as you notice things and start figuring out that maybe certain people are attributing to your low energy or bad mood or whatever you're picking up from them, get really honest with yourself and ask yourself the hard questions. Like, is this relationship worth it? What am I getting from this relationship? How would it be just to not answer the phone call from the friend for 1 day and see how it feels? Or maybe 2 days or 3 days. And then I realize I don't miss talking to this friend. Maybe it will be something bigger for you. For me, it was just kind of a small realization of, I don't really miss this person. That is really good information, because what it's telling you is that there was no resonance. You weren't really getting anything out of it. So be honest with yourself. I was saying energy vampires, but it's not even really that they're energy vampires. Yes, that could be the case for some of them. I'm just talking about people you're outgrowing. or people that like you've been friends with for your whole life, but is there really a connection there? Is there really any common ground? Are they on the same wavelength? Like my friend that I've been talking about, she was on my wavelength. Like we would talk about, I mean, she introduced me to the guy that I started doing energy healing with and learned from in his modality, matrix energetics. And I was a client of his for like 4 years. And we would talk about our sessions and all the wild stuff and whatever, but it was just like I just kept taking it steps and steps further, and she wasn't, which didn't make it bad. It just made it, I wanted people who were doing the same thing. So we're still friends. Back then we didn't really hang out, so things just kind of shifted. So then it just fizzled out, right? So it wasn't necessarily that it was anything other than like we didn't really resonate, and I was moving on. Okay. Esther spoiled this one earlier. Thank you. Remove people from your news feed. So you can do that by unfollowing. If you go to the person's profile, you can click on the 3 dots there underneath their cover photo, and you can unfollow them. You can snooze them, I believe, is an option for 30 days, or you could flat out unfriend them. So clean up your, Esther, you need a little drum roll. Next time I'll have you announce it on the video, okay? So, remove these people if they are bothering you. If you think someone might be bothering you, you could always just try it, snooze them for 30 days and see how you feel not seeing their energy in your newsfeed. Okay? All right. My next note talks about just the extra protection for things like work. Like Katie, we worked on this for you with some of the people that you worked with. I worked on it multiple times for me with situations at work and just basic for work. So find out, what those places are that are draining you. For example, one of my clients, and she's a friend too, but we were doing some work together, and she is just learning about her being an empath. She said that she feels awful after she goes to church. You guys, church, like you're supposed to be uplifted and like be talking about God and Jesus and like the joy and love and all of this stuff. And she just feels completely drained. And it was funny because I thought back to my church days. I was like, I always felt awful leaving church too. I didn't even really ever equate it to being an empath. So you guys, we're still learning things about ourselves. Like I'm still learning about all of this. Really, I would say most of my learning came since I lived in Belize and had the opportunity to really grow the gifts and start figuring out what was going on. Deb says unfollow is a great little button. It is. Okay. I should have started with this, but I think one of the most important things you can ask when you feel that mood shift, and I have an example of this, ask yourself, is this mine? Is this mine? So if you're feeling stuck in a mood shift, in an energy lull, some kind of like going from feeling really good to feeling really, really bad, stop for a minute. And the first thing you can do is say, is this mine? And if you've been practicing your intuition, then you can ask your intuition, or you can muscle test and start figuring out, is it yours or is it not? So yesterday, I have a little story. Yesterday, so a lot of you know that I've been having huge amounts of telepathy with my ex-boyfriend, a recent breakup a year ago. And I've been having a lot of clear empathy with him, feeling him and knowing what's going on with him. And on the one hand, it's been really insightful. And on the other hand, depending on what the feeling is, it's been really frustrating. So yesterday I took my walk, and I was, we've had really crappy weather here, like I said earlier. So we're having these little, like, I don't know, an hour of sun or something. Like it, it gets nice with like 70 degrees and the sun will shine for an hour. So I zip outside for my walk. And I was walking, and all of a sudden my mood went from, I would say it was probably normal, maybe a little above normal, because I'd gotten a lot of things accomplished. I was feeling pretty good about like the work that I had done, even though I was tired. And so I was probably a little, so here's normal. So it's probably up here. So I start walking and I'm now down here. I'm like, what is this? Like part of telepathy is, and clairempathy really is tracking your own energy, your own thoughts, your own getting really aware of how you sound to yourself, so that you, like, especially with telepathy, like, so it's not you thinking it, it's someone else. So anyway, I got home and I was like, oh, bummed out now. I was picking up him again. And so I was like, oh, and it was like it was gone immediately, knowing that it was him. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about, asking, like, because I really thought it was me. And I thought, well, what did I just think about? What did I just do? Like, why am I feeling like this now? Because most of the time, you guys, we can backtrack it and we can figure out what was just happening to take us there, right? You know your automatic thought patterns. If you stop and check in with them, you'll know what it is. And so I was like, oh, that was him. So then I could, release it and go on my day. So Katie says, I have a friend that's super great one time, then crappy the next. It's confusing. Oh, isn't that interesting? So I'm just trying to tune into that, because I can feel that's a weird one. Is she bipolar or something, or he? I forgot my water, you guys. I would maybe play with that, and maybe not. If you talk one time and it's great, maybe not talk the next time. I don't know. Can you track it? I used to have to do that with my second husband, like his moods every 6 weeks, he would like turn crazy. So I don't know. There could be something for that for you. Okay, so let me know how you're feeling with, Callie says her husband has mood shifts too. Yeah. So that'll be something that you can easily track then, Callie, since you live with him, right? So he's right there, and you can navigate and try and start figuring out how that affects you, how his moods affect you, how much of his moods you're picking up. So there's a difference between tiptoeing around someone when they have a bad mood versus you getting in their same mood. So you could start playing with that to track which is which for you as you go. Katie says she's smart, so I really like her knowledge, but then she can get a bit controlling. Yeah. Well, it's good that you recognize that, because then you can set up your boundaries around that, is what I would say. Guys, I've remembered my stones and not my water. So let me know how you're feeling after all this. Do you feel like this is doable? I only wanted to give you a couple baby steps to start with. One is asking, is it mine? The second is just starting to notice. And you will want to keep this in your notebook, in your little vibe notebook, your intuition notebook. You can start just tracking. I talked to Gay and I was uplifted. My mom and I were both really exhausted last week when my aunt and 2 cousins came over for a little visit. And another week or 2 before that, my sister and her 2 teenage kids came over. I was like it was so exhausting. It's exhausting to hold that, like to be up and on, right? And to hold that energy level of constant conversation and tracking conversation and listening and participating. And it's this whole Gay. I know, did you like that example? Gay says, I talked to Jill and I'm uplifted. But noted, like we just noticed, and I was surprised that my mom said it. She's like, yeah, I'm really exhausted. And like we both had to like go lay down and rest and like recalibrate. But if you think about it, it's not that surprising, because we've been in isolation. I've been around 2 other people this whole time, my parents. They've been around me. They're used to each other because, they've, lived whatever, almost 60 years together. So do you know what I mean? So You're just noticing. You're just noticing. So Estha's resonating. Okay, good. So you're asking, is it mine? And you are noticing, where are my notes? You are noticing how you feel in different situations around different people. And this will actually be a great time as we start being around people again. If your area is opening up, you might be really annoyed seeing certain people. I have a prediction, a psychic prediction, that some of us will be like, I don't want to see that person. Like, I didn't miss this person at all. So just notice that and pay attention to it and honor it, honoring it. So check your news feeds and adjust your friends and followers, accordingly. If you're noticing certain things, is what I would say. Deb says, yes, it's great info. This will probably explain a lot of my life. Yeah, it really does, I think. And the more you play with it and the more you just start noticing, it's just noticing it, you guys. You're just noticing. Make it easy for yourself. There's not a test. I mean, I will ask you next time because they tell me this is a 3-part class, so we'll see what happens the next time. But I want you to start noticing, so next time we do this, you have more to bring to the table for how you're experiencing it, and then we can navigate like more specifically for you. And we'll probably do a Zoom class for this one, the next one. But like, what does that mean? What does that really look like for you? How could you handle it? How could you do it different? What could you tweak, or things like that? Okay, so we're almost an hour. We're an hour in, but we're going to go. We'll keep going. We're going to do like a mini clear and protect for the group. The clear and protect session, like I mentioned, I'm going to offer it today if anybody wants to get a personalized one for $25 US. And what the clear and protect one is, I guess I didn't really go into this at all, but I'll tell you how it came about. So when I was living in Belize, I told you about all my struggles, some of my struggles. And one of them was this telepathy really started happening. And really, clear empathy is interesting because I really feel like it can augment the other psychic gifts. So in this case, it was augmenting the telepathy. I would ride my bike down into the village, and I would just feel really yucky, and I wouldn't want to go into the village. And what I was picking up, like people's feelings about me. I'd had multiple, like it was just too crazy to even count them. There were so many weirdo things that happened to me. I wrote a letter to my friend once, and there were like 10 things that had happened in a couple months of just weird stuff that I'm like, what is going on here? Like, it was just too weird not to be meaningful, right? So one of my life lessons is rejection and abandonment, which Belize really got to crack open another whole nother healing layer of this. And that's part of what this was. It was other expat women in Belize that were shunning me, rejecting me, bullying me, gossiping about me, just basically being unfriendly to me. And I'm nice, right? So it's like, I didn't understand it at all, but it was part of this bigger lesson and things I was healing. Okay. But literally, I was having telepathy and clear empathy together when I would go out to go dancing, go by myself because I'm there by myself, right? And these women, I could tell by looking at them that they hated me. And these were women that had never even really met me before. So it was really interesting. And women that shouldn't have like been jealous or anything, they were like married and had a husband, all this stuff. So it was really, really confusing to me. But anyway, so I could feel their thoughts. So I was freaking out and tired and frustrated for about 2 years. And then my guides gave me the old nudge, and they're like, enough is enough. Let's do a healing on this. So I did a healing on it. And what they did was they removed all of the stagnant old energy. And then they set up a protection based on everything I needed. And I was up in Mexico at the time on a vacation. I went back to Belize, and I was amazed because I would still go out and I would see that person, and I could still tell, like I had the information of what she thought about me, but I didn't have the feeling. I didn't have the reaction. I didn't have the trigger. I didn't have the energy of it, but I had the information of it. So I was like, oh, she still feels the same way. Oh, but whatever. And off I would go. So my whole world changed because I wasn't constantly fighting and dealing with this frustration of like, why doesn't anybody like me? And why does everybody hate me? Because that's the energy I was feeling. I had people telling me that I was just expecting it because it had happened in the past and this and that. And I was like, no, like this is so much deeper than that. So anyway, just that's what happened. So after this happened, it was like a 180-degree turn. I was not affected. I was not frustrated. I was not bothered by any of these experiences, and I still had them. And you guys, you want to hear something crazy? Is my bully was actually really nice to me before I left Belize, like in that week before I left, all these really weird things happened. And it showed me that I'd kind of like come full circle with the whole experience of 5 years. And my bully was like nice to me, like waving at me from across the room and came over to talk to me. And I was like, is this a joke? Like I kept waiting. I kept waiting for something to happen. And like she was just nice. And I just thought, isn't that interesting? So I had shifted and maybe she had shifted. But anyway, I love the clear and protect. Estha, if you want to, was that the clear and protect? Yeah, for your first session with me. Excuse me. Yeah. The clear and protect. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we are going to clear off any old, stagnant, unuseful energy that might be lurking around. And then we are going, I'm not going to be able to do the personalized piece, which is why I'm offering the special if you want to do it. Usually it's very personalized to whatever you need, so we're tapping into you specifically. So in this case, we're still going to do the protection, but it's going to be a more general protection, but I'm going to do the little caveat of whatever you need. So we'll just have your guides step in and help you with that part. Okay, so we're going to be using both. We're using both of these. We're using our black tourmaline, which would be a great stone for any empaths to use. It is a transmuter of negative energy. So I carry one in my purse. I carry one in my pocket. You can keep it by your computer too, to kind of, that's what I should be doing, is aligning my computer with black tourmaline. So it's a really powerful stone. Next up is our beautiful healing amethyst, little brain lag. So I've been using these together. So we're going to actually use both in the unraveling of this energy. So just take a couple deep breaths for me, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And when you are exhaling, if there's anything that you are holding on to right now that is burdening you, world events maybe, there's been an uproar in the US, so maybe you want to breathe that out with each breath out. When you exhale, you are breathing out anything that you're consciously aware of that is bothering you or bogging you down. And if you don't have anything in your mental awareness, that's fine. Your intention is anything known or unknown is being released. So your breathing is helping us with the healing, okay? Your breathing is helping to push it out. And hi, Paige, by the way. Sorry, I saw you popped on, but I was busy yapping. Okay. So what I mean when I say we're using these stones is I'm pulling in the energy of these stones, okay? And I'm actually, the way they're doing it today, when I say they, I mean my guides and angelic helpers, whoever, is I'm actually seeing rays of these stones, the energy of these stones. I am seeing the energy of that literally going into you and around you and kind of like magnetize. It's like pulling it out. It's creating a magnet effect. So the old energy is, gluing itself to these stones, and as the stone energy releases, that stuff comes with it. So we haven't done it like that before. It's a little bit new and different. A couple deep breaths. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and do a new thing that we've been doing lately is we're releasing energy across all timelines, known and unknown, parallel universes, multiple dimensions, past lives too. That's different and new. So anywhere that you've existed where you've held this energy, we're releasing it now. So I always see energy being held both in the physical body and in the energetic body, as well as the, etheric field, the auric field, and all the layers of the auric field. So I just lump all that into energetic body. But I just want you to know that I do sense typically energy also in the physical body. So we're asking that to be released. And by the way, this is both your energy and other energies that you've picked up. So again, the other energies can be people, places, or things, or environments, or whatever. So keep that in mind. Oh, good. Kelly's holding her tourmaline. Immediately felt happier and good. Good. Okay. So if you don't have a black tourmaline or an amethyst, just look at these and just the intention is you're pulling that energy to you. You can picture it in your mind. That's really all you need to do. If there's a stone you want to work with and you have no idea what the properties are, you can always Google it and print a picture or just look at the picture and then visualize it later. You don't have to know. You don't have to have the physical stone. You can just pull in, have the intention that you're pulling in the energy of it. All right, so we're all clear now. So we're actually only using the amethyst now. We're going to include amethyst for spiritual protection in your protection. Some people don't like to use the word protection when they do energy work. They think we shouldn't have to be protected. I'm a believer in protection. I can certainly feel the difference when I protect versus when I don't protect. Like I protect when heck yeah, I'm going to protect when I do entity clearings and removals, right? Like I don't want those guys to get me. It's really dangerous work. So I want to be like super duper, 10 million % protected. I feel like as highly sensitives protecting, we're not doing like a brick wall protection, like I'm protecting, I don't want anybody coming in. We're doing a protection to keep our energy protected and our self protected. So there's a difference in how you look at it. And the way we set up this protection is they use a system of filters and boundaries. So remember when I told you with those expat women, I got the information. I still knew they felt the same way about me. I had the information, but what they had done is they had filtered out all of the energy of it and the vibration of it and the hatred behind it and all those yucky things. They filtered all that out. So when it got to me, it was like, oh, they still hate me. Okay. And off I would go to do my thing. And I wasn't bothered by it. So there's a difference. So that's what this protection and this filter does for you, is it allows that information to still come in, but not the heaviness of it, or maybe the negativity of it, or the emotion of it, okay? Katie feels like her dead leaves were plucked off. Nice. Paige says, yes, I use protection at work. It feels so good. Yes, yes. And like, yeah, so Paige, if you don't mind me saying, like Paige is a hairstylist. So think of all the people that she's got in and out, not just her own clients and her own like desk space, all, her own booth, but all the other people that are in there with their clients and their people in the waiting room and just people waiting with their friend while they get their hair cut. Like think of all of those other people there. So think about your job, for a minute, and where you go and who you're around, and start getting an energetic perspective of it, right? Okay. So this protection, so what my guide showed me when they did this is that everybody has like an actual physical space around them where they actually start feeling the energy. I'm going to tune into what mine is now because I feel like it's changed. So it changed. I think I was at like 20 before. So mine is at 70 feet now. So that means 70 feet physically in all directions around me, above me, and below me is when I start picking up energy. Now, technically, I mean, like I told you, I was picking up my ex yesterday. So, I mean, he's nowhere near me. Like he's like 4 states away. So, there is no real physical amount, when we're talking about energy, right? But there was something to it. There still is something to it. So we do one. Okay. So what that means is 70 feet away from me is where not when they first did one, but 70 feet away is where we would start the protection. Okay. And then as you go in from that 70 feet closer to you are the filters and the different boundaries and all the specialized, personalized stuff that would be set up for you. Okay. So each of you have your whatever feet out from you, which is where you would need your protection to start. Hope that makes sense. Okay. Kelly says, I feel like I need the protection with my husband. Yeah, you do. Paige says, the personal protection session I had with you has helped so much. Oh, good. Thank you, Paige. Yeah. All right. So again, if you want one of those, I don't think the link I put in the comments worked, so I'll link it in the description after we're done. Highly recommended. And you only have to do it once. I mean, unless you go through a lot of changes, right? Like I just checked in on mine and I think it went from whatever my original one was to now 70. So, all right, hold on. Back to this. We are using the amethyst. So a couple deep breaths. We're going to go out 40 feet for everybody just to have a baseline. So this is already kind of personalized. If you are 40 feet or under, meaning lower 40 feet or less than that, you're covered basically with this. The only thing you're not getting is all the different, well, they're saying they can set it up. So we'll see. So your guides are going to take care of this, the personalized piece, instead of me tapping into everybody. Okay. So your job is to hold the intention that you are energetically protected. And so everybody should be living in their own energy bubble. So Callie, like for you with your husband, like this is your energy bubble now. So you should feel a difference when interacting. You should feel more separate from him when you are interacting with him again. After doing that clearing, we should be feeling a lot lighter, maybe more clear, maybe like you finally can follow through with the ideas that you have because you actually can finish a thought. For some of you, it might be that detailed. So yeah, so Kalia is asking how often you need to get a protection. So this, I've always been saying it's a lifetime thing, but technically it is. However, if you go through a lot of different shifts, like I've just been through a huge shift moving back from Belize to here. So I think that's why I'm getting, and I went through a lot of growth when I was there. So I'm feeling like I need to update my protection, but in general, they're saying no, we don't need to get it but one time. But there could be some tweaks down the road that you do. Paige, Paige or Esther, since you've gotten one, if you want to put in the comments how you have felt since, like specifically since you got the protection, to give people an idea of what happened for you. Just like our iPhone, yeah, we need an update, an upgrade. Jilly 0.7. That's funny. Yeah. All right, back to our breathing here. Let's see where we're gonna go. Yeah. So my intention I'm holding and what I'm putting out there to you and like telling the spirit team is like, okay, they're getting whatever they need, meaning you guys, anybody watching this, you're getting what you need. And let's see. So I'm not tuning into every little thing happening, but like I'm seeing grass, I'm seeing bunnies, I'm seeing like a log cabin with the chimney smoke coming out. Somebody's keeping cozy. Like there's the waterfall, there's paths, there's branches and trees, and there's all sorts of. So if you want to imagine and tune in and like see what your protection looks like, then have at it. And whatever you see is right for you. A couple deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. So when you breathe in, you're breathing in this calm intention, this peacefulness, this protectedness. You have this knowingness of protection now. So you may even carry yourself a little different, knowing that nothing's going to, well, it's not that nothing is going to get through, but it's going to hit that protection at 40 feet and it'll start filtering through. So notice, so your job will be to notice. You may have already had your list that we talked about earlier. Like you already know maybe some of your triggers or some of the people that you're around or the things that you see or the things that you do. So now if those stumble across your path, notice if you just blink and move on and you're not even affected, versus you feel a tingle of something and it's like telling you something. So see where you are on that gauge of it affecting you. I don't have a fancy word for it yet. Esther just says the Clear and Protect was a life-changing experience. Yeah, you had a big shift with that. So did your family with the anxiety piece. Katie said, I never thought my bubble would be 40 feet. Yep. Lena thinks she needs her protection tweak. That's right, you'd had one recently. Esther says, I never thought life would be this easy being an empath. It was very difficult without the protection filter. Yeah. Well, you got to be able to distinguish like what's yours and what's not yours. And that's, I think, the whole hang up of being an empath is you just get stuck in all the stuff that it's not even yours. So if anyone is feeling any different now that we've done the protection, we've done both. So we've done the release and we've done the protection. Can you feel a difference? Are you feeling lighter? Are you feeling more clear? You may not know until you start interacting in the world, but you probably have had at least the clearness and lightness shift now because you're not carrying on all of that, all the energy. Paige says, I feel really safe now, especially at work. I can hire the protection field when needed for clients that make me crazy. It was cool. One of the layers were camouflage. That's what we had at the salon. Oh, neat. Forgotten about that. That's really cool. Yeah. Callie says, I think I do feel more clear. Good. So your real test, Callie, will be when you're interacting with your husband. If he's in one of his lower bad moods, or I don't remember what you called them. If you have enjoyed today, join us in Soul Style, the Facebook group, where we talk about vibrant living from the inside out. I would be thrilled to have you there. Couple deep breaths. Make sure you hydrate. or check with your doctor first if you have to. I can't believe I even have to say that, you guys. But Essa says we feel the difference when we go into the crowd. Yes, that's another big one. That is a big one too. Absolutely. Yep. Well, it's literally, I mean, you're literally kind of in your own space. Katie says my bubble is thicker. Good. Well, and you can always adjust, right? So if this isn't resonating with you, then here's some other tips, okay? Call in Archangel Michael to stand next to you, especially if you're dealing with somebody that's difficult to deal with. You could always call in Archangel Michael. You can imagine a white bubble of light or clear bubble of light or whatever color you would want around you. Make sure it's all around you. It's above you, to the sides, and below you too. And so you're in this bubble. I used to wear an energetic raincoat when I would deal with things. Family. Making sure they can't hear me. Hi, I'm 5 again. I'm 15 again. Not 50. I used to do an energetic, like family, oh my gosh, family functions, you guys. This is one of the first things I learned was like an energetic raincoat. So I would zip up my raincoat, pull on my hood, had like I think I had like a clear plastic something over the face, like, cause you can picture that, right? Everybody knows what a raincoat is. And it's it protects you. So I would have this raincoat and I would wear my raincoat so that the stuff didn't get on me. This is way better though. But if you're just starting out and you're like, I don't know what this energy healing stuff is or this protection thing, then try these other routes, like the bubble, calling in Archangel Michael, doing a energetic raincoat. So you just visualize yourself putting on like your raincoat protective gear before you go out into the world or to the party or to your family or whatever. Oh, good. You're welcome, Paige. You're feeling so good. I'm glad. Yeah, this was good. I just feel like it had been such, well, I know for me, if I'm usually feeling it, then you guys must be feeling it too, or on some level. So thank you for your patience with me and my internet. All right, so we are going to be doing another live during the week, but I'm going to do it based on my energy, okay? I'm going to see you in the Soul Style group. We're just getting started in there. So I'd be happy to have you talk about all the stuff that's going on with our journey, with intuition, with, I want to hear how the protections go for you over the next little while. Do a check-in on Sunday for those of you who are on Sunday. If you don't already know, Sunday we do the Zap It Up. It's an energetic activation for our intentions. So we're really supercharging them. We're backing them up with energy and sending them out to the universe. So come on Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. UK, 9:45 p.m. Nepal, okay? Come join us there. And they've been really different lately. It's been really kind of cool to see them change a little bit because, like I said, we've been doing it for a year now, over a year. So it's kind of nice that it's evolving. I think it's evolving as we are evolving. So you're so welcome, Kelly. You guys are welcome. I'm happy. I get so much out of doing these too. So I love to be here with you guys. Love you, Gay. Oh, good. Paige said she was so sick yesterday. You stayed home. Good. I'm glad you stayed home and took care of yourself. And you needed this. Yay. Awesome. Okay. Looking so forward to it. I might just start in this room with the internet. I don't know what's going on with the internet. It was on and off all day yesterday. So keep roaring, you guys. And remember, I feel compelled to tell you yet again that there are so many infinite possibilities out there right now. So if you're not already tapping in and being open to anything and everything, then start shifting and start thinking a little differently and asking, I wonder, and be curious, and just start batting around some new ideas about whatever for your life. I don't know. I really I really can't stop talking about the infinite possibilities. So they're really, really pounding it in for some reason this year. And it's like the more into the year we get, the more it's like they're reminding me even louder and stronger about it. So, all right, Katie, see you Sunday, everybody. Yay! All right, till then, 2 days. You got 2 days to rest. Rest up. All right, guys, take care.